In our last investigation, we documented the casualties. We watched roles disappear. We saw professions automated in real time. We asked the question that keeps millions awake at night. What happens when AI takes our jobs? But that question hides a deeper one. Because while we've been counting losses, something else has been happening. Quietly, systematically, in plain sight. AI hasn't just been eliminating work, it has been creating it. Entirely new careers, roles with no historical precedent, jobs that didn't exist 5 years ago, now paying six-figure salaries. In 2019, the job title prompt engineer didn't exist. Today, it can pay over $300,000 a year, not in science fiction, in payroll. This is not the story we've been telling. We've framed AI as a destroyer, a replacement, a threat. But history suggests something more complex. Every transformative technology does two things at once. It removes friction, and it creates new terrain. Railroads erased stagecoach drivers and created logistics empires. Electricity eliminated lamplighters and gave birth to entire industries. The internet destroyed classified ads and created digital economies. AI is doing the same, but the jobs it creates don't look like the jobs it replaces. They emerge in the gaps between machine capability and human need, between automation and meaning, between what a system can do and what society requires it to do responsibly. This is the story of that gap, the story of emergence, of an invisible gold rush already underway, and of the humans becoming the connective tissue between algorithm and reality. To understand what's coming, we have to confront a paradox from the past. In the 45 years since the automated teller machine became widespread, the number of human bank tellers in the United States did not collapse. It doubled, from roughly 250,000 in the 1970s to over 500,000 by the 2010s. That result shocked economists. ATMs were supposed to replace tellers. They did replace a task, handling cash, but that single change altered the entire economic structure of banking. With machines handling routine transactions, branches became cheaper to operate. Banks opened more locations, 40% more. And tellers didn't vanish, they evolved. They stopped counting money and started interpreting people. They became relationship managers, sales advisors, problem solvers. Their work shifted from manual repetition to cognitive judgment. This pattern is not accidental. Economists call it the O-ring principle. The name comes from the 1986 Challenger disaster. A multi-billion-dollar space mission failed, not because of complex software or a broken engine, but because of a small rubber seal, an O-ring. In systems where every component must function, improving one link doesn't make the others irrelevant. It makes them more valuable. When calculation becomes perfect, judgment matters more. When memory becomes infinite, meaning becomes scarce. When execution becomes automated, direction becomes decisive. The more reliable machines become, the more catastrophic human failure becomes. AI does not remove humans from the system. It raises the stakes of being human within it. This is the paradox of automation. Technology doesn't make people obsolete. It makes them leverage points. And leverage is power. We saw this with spreadsheets. In the 1970s, accountants feared software like VisiCalc. Why pay a professional to compute numbers when a machine could do it instantly? But spreadsheets didn't eliminate accountants. They created financial analysts, strategists, modelers. The job didn't disappear. It migrated upward, from arithmetic to interpretation. We saw it with GPS. Navigation used to be a profession. Now it's a feature. But logistics exploded. Fleet optimization, supply chain intelligence, urban planning. When direction became free, coordination became valuable. AI follows the same arc. It removes friction from thinking, from writing, from pattern recognition. And in doing so, it doesn't erase human value. It concentrates it. The mistake we keep making is assuming that because a machine can perform a task, the human who once did that task becomes redundant. History says the opposite. When a task becomes cheap, the system around it expands. And when systems expand, they require more judgment, not less. AI can draft a contract, but it cannot decide what risk is acceptable. AI can diagnose an image, but it cannot decide what a human life is worth. AI can generate a plan, but it cannot decide what should matter. Those decisions are O-rings, small, human, catastrophic if wrong, and indispensable. Every AI system deployed at scale becomes a high-stakes machine. The better it gets, the more dangerous its failure becomes, which means something counterintuitive. The more powerful AI becomes, the more valuable human judgment becomes, not in theory, in payroll, in law, in medicine, in education, in governance. We are not approaching a world without work. We are approaching a world where the center of work shifts from doing to deciding, from executing to interpreting, from performing tasks to owning consequences. This is the terrain where new professions form, not inside the machine, but around it, at its edges, at its failures, at its blind spots, where automation ends and responsibility begins. That boundary is where emergence happens, and it is already reshaping the labor market, not with explosions, with quiet job titles, roles that didn't exist 5 years ago, but now sit between systems and society. The next chapter lives there, in a profession born from language itself. The new linguists, the prompt engineers. In 2019, the job title, prompt engineer, did not exist. There was no university course, no career path, no precedent. By 2024, companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google DeepMind were offering salaries between $250,000 and $335,000 for it. A profession born in less than 5 years now pays more than most doctors. That alone should make us pause, because prompt engineers do not build AI. They do not train models. They do not write core code. They talk to machines. They design instructions. They shape how intelligence behaves. At first glance, that sounds trivial. Anyone can type into a chatbot. Why would a company pay six figures for that? The answer lies in a problem even AI's creators struggle with. Modern language models are opaque. They are not deterministic machines. They are probabilistic systems trained on vast oceans of text. Even their architects cannot always predict what they will say. A single word can change an outcome. Summarize this document. Versus, carefully summarize this document as a risk analyst. The second is often more accurate, more cautious, more useful. Studies inside AI labs have shown that tiny linguistic shifts can change model accuracy by double digits. Prompt engineers exist to master that instability. They are part linguist, part psychologist, part systems designer. They do not ask, what should the AI do? They ask, how does this system interpret intent? They think in layers, tone, role, constraints, memory, context, failure modes. They build structures of thought for machines. They design how a system reasons, and they do it with language. Inside Anthropic, early prompt engineers were recruited not from computer science, but from poetry, from philosophy, from law, from journalism. Because the skill was not coding, it was understanding how meaning moves, how ambiguity forms, how instructions collapse. A prompt engineer knows that explain this is not the same as teach this to a curious beginner. They know that be concise is not the same as limit this to 80 words. They know that models respond differently to you are a helpful assistant versus you are a medical advisor speaking to a patient in distress. They are not writing commands. They are constructing personas, cognitive frames, mental scaffolding for machines that do not think, but imitate thinking. Consider a real-world case. A student learning English types. Fix my paragraph. The model returns a corrected version. Technically correct. Emotionally sterile. A prompt engineer designs something else. A persona. You are a supportive spoken English tutor. Limit responses to 100 words. Correct grammar gently. Ask one follow-up question. Encourage progress. Now the same model becomes a teacher, not because it changed, but because the instruction changed. This is not cosmetic. It determines whether AI feels dismissive or supportive, authoritative or collaborative, mechanical or human. In healthcare, that difference matters. In law, it matters. In education, it determines whether a system empowers or alienates. Prompt engineers shape the interface between cognition and consequence. They build the thin layer where raw intelligence becomes usable. They are not optimizing syntax. They are engineering understanding. This profession exists because AI is powerful, but not self-directing. It does not know what matters, what is allowed, what is ethical, what is appropriate. It must be guided. And guidance is a human art. Language is not just communication. It is constraint. It is framing. It is direction. Prompt engineers discovered something profound. That intelligence without orientation is dangerous, and that the smallest human input can steer massive computational force. This is the O-ring principle at scale. When reasoning becomes automated, Intent becomes everything. Prompt engineers sit at that boundary between what the machine can do and what it should do. And because that boundary is expanding, so is the value of those who can navigate it. But prompt engineering is only the visible tip. Beneath every fluent response is a far larger, quieter workforce. Humans who do not instruct AI. They teach it. They decide what good even means. They are the human teachers, the invisible architects of alignment, the RLHF specialists. And without them, there is no intelligence at all. But who are they? Behind every polite response, every refusal to generate harmful content, every balanced answer to a sensitive question, there is a person sitting at a screen, making a judgment, deciding what good even means. This invisible workforce is massive, it is global, and it is reshaping intelligence itself. The next chapter reveals who they are, what they do, and why. Without them, there would be no AI at all. If you want to discover the invisible architects behind every AI you've ever used, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next part.